Hi everyone, my name is Liz Reed. I'm with Reed Developments Limited. We are a general contracting firm here in Vancouver, BC, Canada, specializing in new award-winning custom homes and renovations. Today I'd like to talk about a topic that we find near and dear to our heart, which is hiring a general contractor versus running the job yourself, and what are the benefits and features of doing so. Basically, we are asked this question quite often when we are at any of the trade shows that we participate in. And so it is something I think is an important topic to cover because there should be all aspects of a project considered. And really, the biggest aspect is who's going to run your particular job. So the first point I'd like to make is that as your own general contractor, you have to assume the responsibility of all the subtrades that are on your site at any given time and make sure that the health and safety of the particular project is kept up to par, and there is no dangerous things, so no trash left around, nothing to trip over. There's first aid kits, etc., all that sort of thing available on site at all times in the event that anyone is hurt. That is part of the job that is in place. You're also expected to maintain that everyone has WCB coverage, so checking online with WorkSafe BC and ensuring that each subtrade individually does have a valid account that is in good standing with WorkSafe BC. And you can actually do this by obtaining what they call a clearance letter, which you can get at worksafebc.com. And basically this can be done by just entering your information and then going on and entering either the first and last name of the person that you're hiring, or the last name of the person you're hiring, or the company name, and then you can request a clearance letter. And typically, as long as that particular person is in good standing, it'll also tell you too as well how long they've had an account with WCB, so that you can actually ensure that they've got a good running reputation and track record. Now, having said that, a lot of the time, if you cannot find somebody in the WCB site for whatever reason, you are expected to either contact WCB directly and sort of run the person's name through because maybe you're not spelling it correctly, or alternatively, you can contact the person that you're considering hiring and ask them for their WCB account number, because you can also use the account number to pull their information up with. Now, the importance of this is huge, and the reason why I say that is because recently in the news in 2012 there was an incident that made quite large headlines, that actually was something that is very pertinent to our topic, and it was that former Premier Gordon Campbell was found responsible in a roofer's death that he had hired back in the summer of 2011. Basically, according to CTV.ca's website, they have an article on this particular subject. WorkSafe BC was called in because Mr. Campbell had a roofer who fell from the roof of his home into an inside kitchen area down 18 feet, who eventually died the following day from his injuries. And in turn, when WorkSafe did do an investigation into the actual incident, they found that Mr. Campbell hadn't designated any of the companies working simultaneously on the property as a prime contractor, and the role became his by default. WorkSafe BC says the prime contractor is responsible for establishing a system or process to ensure compliance with health and safety regulations. Now, what I found very interesting about this was that this was something that I didn't even realize too, was that Mr. Campbell's house that this incident actually happened in was not actually even in his name. It was in his wife's name. But WorkSafe determined that because he coordinated the renovation, he is considered the owner under the Workmen's Compensation Act. So interestingly enough, even though he did not actually physically have his name on the property title, at the end of the day, because he was coordinating the subtrades and had initially had that conversation with them to hire them, he was responsible for those trades. Now, in actual fact, he wasn't even anywhere close to the house at the time the incident occurred, but they still found him liable because he was responsible for the health and welfare of those particular trades on his site. Now, interestingly enough, according to the TIE, which is another source that I actually used to do some investigation on this particular topic. The Tyee had an article that was back from March the 6th of 2012 that talks about the exact same thing and said that based on a precedent, the fine, if levied, would be substantial towards Mr. Campbell. And they actually go on to say that the Hyatt Regency in Vancouver was fined over $75,000 for an incident that happened in December of 2008 after the death of a cleaning worker who fell 17 feet from a canopy, as well as Penfolds Roofing of Vancouver was also fined because WorkSafe BC showed up to do an inspection at a work site in New Westminster and found that 2 of their workers were near the edge of an unguarded roof 19 feet above grade without fall protection, and they were fined over $139,853, and nobody was even injured on that. It was just because of the fact that these 2 guys were standing there with inappropriate equipment on at that time. So as you can see, this is a very, very serious situation that WCB takes very seriously. They are all about worker safety, and certainly, obviously, they're there to protect the worker. So if you're planning on running this job, you have to literally be on site virtually all the time. You have to be available to come back there, maintain it, keep the trash down, no tripping hazards. There's so many things to be involved with. A general contractor would always have, in our case, would always have someone on site or someone very close by to be able to run over and maintain the site on a daily basis. So this is something that obviously reasons why there is benefit in actually having someone separate from yourself, because if you have a 9-to-5 job that you're working at, most people do not have the ability to drop everything and run to the site in the event that something happens or it has to be cleaned up every day. There's just not the time allowed. So that's sort of the main reason. Now, having said that, the other reason is liability insurance. So liability insurance is something that most trades have to come with. And again, typically on average, the trades will have between $1 million and $2 million worth of liability insurance that they would carry at any given time. And of course, these policies are just like a regular insurance policy that do expire. So in the event that you get a copy of a liability insurance policy from a particular trade, you want to make sure that when if it does expire in the middle of your job, that you're obtaining a new copy of the updated insurance policy just to ensure that it has been renewed. Typically, liability insurance covers things such as if they drive a nail into the floor and hit, say, a radiant heat water pipe and cause a major flood, or say a plumber's in the basement welding some pipes and a spark flies loose and an ember catches somewhere and it sets your house on fire. All of these things are covered by liability insurance. Alternatively, if these trades do not carry liability insurance or let theirs lapse, you are ultimately responsible, because obviously the homeowner themselves is going to have to pay for this particular problem, because obviously in order to bring your home back, you're going to have to pay for it out of pocket or through your own insurance policy. So again, you want to ensure that all the trades that are on your site have liability insurance and are maintaining it up to date. Again, a general contractor would come to the plate with their own liability insurance. So in the event that any of the sub-trades that are working under the general contractor do not have liability insurance or allow theirs to lapse and don't renew it properly and anything happens, basically the general contractor's liability insurance policy would cover for everyone that they have hired that is coming and working on your particular project. So those are the 2 main reasons I would like to say. And the third one is that in the event that you're building a new build, so something a laneway house, coach home, or a brand new home altogether, you do want to get and obtain those 2, 5, and 10-year new home warranty policies. And they're usually only issued to licensed builders. And something that is extremely important, obviously, because in the event that anything down the road happens with the home when you're living in it, you do have insurance and warranty on it that is covered based on the different forms of the policy. We ourselves at Redevelopments here, we do carry a 2, 5, and 10 new home warranty policy that is carried through a local insurance agency here in Vancouver. And We typically provide all of these documents in a package to our clients when we're initially going over the estimated budget for any particular project that you have in place. So our package will include our WCB clearance letter, a copy of our liability insurance coverage, as well as our 2, 5, and 10 warranty information if that is applicable to you. And again, these are things that we just automatically provide. Now, if you're dealing with a builder or a contractor that does not initially give you this information, this is something that you definitely should obtain, because again, you need to do your due diligence to ensure that the builder that you're working with does carry all of these particular policies on a regular, ongoing basis. So it's all about doing due diligence. It's all about dealing with qualified, certified builders and contractors. Another great website to go to if you're looking for somebody is the Greater Vancouver Home Builders Association website, which has licensed builders and contractors in the Greater Vancouver area, a list of them. I think it's gvhba.ca is their website that you can go to. But other than that, typically, we're all there. Anybody who has any kind of knowledge within the industry will provide all of these documents up front so that you're not having to chase after anyone. So I hope I've explained this topic to you in an easy and effective way for you to understand the importance of either a general contractor or doing your due diligence if you're running the job, to be on top of everything that is required in order to ensure that everyone comes out ahead at the end. So good luck on your project. If you have any questions, please feel free to give us a call. My name again is Liz Reed, and my husband Mike Reed is actually the owner of the company. He would love to speak to you on your specific project. If you have any questions, we're always here to answer any of those, and the contact information will be at the end of this video. All the best and happy build.